It's really easy to set up and really hard to mess up. I don't actually remember how I ended up with some of the cans of tomato soup. This is a terrible segue. And a chunk of the stuff I make is in the slow cooker, which is extremely hard to mess up and extremely easy to set up. And that entire line is messed up. Anyway, with all that said, I think it's time I actually walk you through this recipe. And my cat is rooting the end of this take. Yay! Years ago, I tamed some cans of tomato soup. I don't actually remember how I ended up with some, but I'm someone who hates to waste food. The trick is, I don't personally love tomato soup. My spouse hates most things tomato in general, and damn it, cat, calm down already. See, I had heard the same story from my friends over and over. I'm a terrible cook. I can't handle cooking anything. It's too hard. It's too complicated. It will always turn out bad. I'll burn down my house. See, I had heard the same story from my friends over and over. I'm a terrible cook. I can't handle cooking anything. It's too hard. It's too complicated. It will always turn out bad. I'll burn down my house. Next, you just toss in your chicken. It should be mostly submerged, but if it's sticking up a bit like you see in the picture, it's not a big deal. It will still cook, and as it defrosts, it should mostly sink down into the sauce. And at this point, you can just turn on the slow cooker. If you're using an Instapot like I am, then the default settings at medium heat for 4 hours will work just fine. And a different slow cooker, if you want it done in around 4 hours, then you want high heat. If you want it done in around 8 hours, then low heat. This is in fact something you can start before you go to work and come home to a nice hot meal. Even if you do it with the default settings on the Instapot, it has a nice keep warm function that will keep it fine for many hours after it finishes. And of course, after handling raw chicken, make sure to wash your hands thoroughly. After my 4 hours is up, it was time for dinner. As you can see, my chicken was done and I was able to cut it with my spoon. Though, if I wanted to get out a full chunk of chicken, I could as well, as you can see. With the Instapot based settings, my chicken wasn't quite fall apart after 4 hours. If I had turned it back on to the default settings and let it go for another hour or so, it would be completely fall apart. So if you like your meat to be a bit more fall apart, all you have to do is cook it a bit longer in a slow cooker. So I made some pasta on the side and threw some of the chicken on top. I also used a spoon to pour some of the sauce on the noodles, but as you can see in the picture, noodles and sauce are kind of similar in color, so you can't really easily see the sauce. As I said earlier, I found this goes well on rice as well, so you can go that route if you prefer. So, well, I was able to explain everything else in this little outtake video well enough with just the text. I kind of needed to boot up the whole setup to finish explaining what was going on here. So yeah, when I saw how ugly my food looked, not that I plated it the best, I realized how low quality my pictures were. And at that point, I panicked. I was about 75% done, and I had been spending hours on this whole thing, and I really didn't want to do it all. So I redid the 10. Well, in my head, this makes sense for 10. I broke the thing into parts, so the last little segment you saw was 10, and just went forward. So that last outro bit was actually one whole take. You just see it as a cut, because I cut a whole section out of it, which explained the whole ugly picture stuff and how I didn't want to spend time redoing it all. The fact of the matter is, it started nagging me, going, wait, how did I not notice it for that long? And, well, when I actually went back to look at the video, it was just the ones that you saw. It was just the couple segments there. So, yeah, I decided just to go redo those. And because I had large pauses in the outro video, I just cut the segment I had away. And because I wasn't sure whether or not I wanted to include both halves of the explanation in there, I made another take of that, but for the purposes of this, I'm just going to include the take that included both of my excuses. Because, why not? Anyway, I hope you like how this model looks as well. Little sneak preview of this as well. I posted a picture, but it should look more fun in action. And on to the next clip. But I, in fact, didn't because I was so focused on making sure I got my pictures. Speaking of pictures, I imagine some of you may be wondering why some of the pictures were so low quality. There's two reasons for this. First and foremost, I'll be honest. In the process of working on the video, I did not realize that my method of saving the pictures off Google Voice to my computer ruined the quality until I was about 75% done with the video. I was too focused on making sure I got my dialogue right that I didn't look at the pictures closely until I saw how crappy my food looked. And well, I didn't want to redo hours of work when the important parts were fine. Second, I was, well, worried enough about the reflection showing me off that for any pictures I took, I was actually wearing a hat and mask to, hide myself. So the lower quality pictures hide me better anyway. So, yeah. Anyway, I do hope someone finds this video helpful. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed my little outtake video. I realized I had some amusing enough scenes, and I had enough go wrong with this video that I wanted to, cover some of it. I had the joy of discovering that my OBS... Darn it, cat! Whatever, I'll leave that in too. My OBS recorded everything in MKV, and my video editor does not support MKV, so I had to figure out how to convert everything. I hope anyone that watched my stream enjoyed it. And, well, I don't know if I'm going to continue doing any of these, but in the future, if I have a bunch of extra footage that I kind of want to show but couldn't include, especially if I make another video much longer than I expected, because this was supposed to be my really simple and easy video to make, and instead it has been by far my most involved. Really, cat? Anyway, I love my cat, I love my friends, and I hope you all are wonderful.